All bushrangers occupy an ambivalent place in Australian culture and literature. They were the highwaymen, the underdogs, and the bandits. They were the bolters, the wild colonial boys, and the self-made heroes, propelled to a life of crime. Whether heroes or villains, these colonial outlaws committed acts of lawlessness through their defiance of authority. Beginning in 1789 with the first convict bolter John Caesar, the execution of Ned Kelly in 1880 represented the end of the bushranging era. Over 2,000 bushrangers were propelled to a life of crime, placing settling families and communities in unexpected circumstances. Within society, there was a strong fear factor that society was beset with crime and criminals. Bolters plundered the fearful settler communities and shot without hesitation at those who opposed them. Wild colonial boys stole in order to get rich quick, without any pity for their victims who had worked hard at honest work. During the gold rush, gold diggers risked being bailed up if they took gold to Sydney's banks themselves for safekeeping. Harbourers were prosecuted and separated from their families, highlighting the personal impacts. Colonial authorities had the decision of who was reprieved and who faced the gallows. The hangman had a very busy time with multiple shocking murders committed almost daily. Many policemen were murdered and robbed. Through the press, wanted posters emerged and articles informed colonial society of bushranger movements, threats, and updates. Moreover, the gold escort robbery carried out by Frank Gardiner and his gang was one of Australia's biggest robberies.
Between Tumbarumba and Holbrook, there is a plaque commemorating the death of where Sergeant McGinnity fell by the hands of Daniel Morgan. Sergeant McGinnity left behind a wife and 2 little children. In his death, hundreds of people flocked to see his corpse. To 17 different Irish families in the Hills districts harboured them and cared for them. And they arrived at the O'Hara family, which happens to be my ancestors. They threw stones on the roof, and one of my great-great-uncles, John O'Hara, he came out and met the bushrangers for the first time and let them in the house. John O'Hara looked at one of the bushrangers' gold watches and said he liked it. They gave it to him and told him not to show it around too much, as they just stole it from the Parramatta Racecourse and drowned there as a result of receiving one stolen item.
Ned Kelly murdered my Michael and robbed his body. There was no mercy, no respect, just cruelty. I lost the child I was carrying after Michael died and raised our children alone. These were the words said by Bridget, the widow of Sergeant Kennedy. Bridget would protest Kelly was a convicted criminal, a bully, a liar, a drunkard, a thief, a hostage-taking killer. Bushrangers caused far-reaching impacts for the public, the press, and notably the authorities. The hero or villain debate is strongly expressed by both historians. Monty reveals he fought for those who were being subjected to violence and fought oppression within the colony. Although Monty's claims are very true, Morrissey strengthens his points by going further and stating his wrongdoings, but also that it is time to stop acknowledging him as a credible national hero, since in today's society, his actions are indeed regarded to be an ugly history of crime. Therefore, whilst both provide convincing reasoning for their personal views, it can be seen that Morrissey's is more accurate to a higher degree. Today, colonial outlaws have impacted the world we live in numerous ways. Through statues of commemoration, sites able to be visited, and the many ballads and songs we associate with bushrangers, these elements have shaped the way we, as Australians, understand, reflect and feel towards bushrangers. Across regions of our country, statues, museums and ballads representative of these heroes and villains continue to strike a chord in remembrance of a once tenuous society.